folks, welcome back. Today we're going to have a good old-fashioned finance wealth building discussion that I think we are in dire need of right now. So sit back, relax, maybe you'll learn something, maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't. But we need to talk about first why the have-nots will always hate those who have for the most part, right? We see this all across the world, every industry. But the people who don't have wealth or material things, they seem to always be at odds with those who did build wealth or do have those material things. And they'll come up with reasons like, well, they were all born rich, family money, trust funds, or they did something illegal to obtain that money. They did something wrong, like mistreat their employees and their businesses, or mistreat their, subordinates, whatever it may be, and, get ahead while keeping others down, and, whatever sort of excuse they want to come up with. And they'll convince themselves that's a reality. And it's much easier to do that than looking at yourself and saying, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need to change my behavior. Maybe I need to change the way that I handle my money, which is usually always the case. Not all the time. I know you can leave a comment about a million different outliers in every circumstance, right? Of course, there's people with family money. There's people that did things illegal. There's people that did things wrong to get to the top. The majority didn't. In fact, the majority of people are self-made millionaires in this country, and they retire comfortably. Not insanely wealthy. They retire comfortably and relatively stress-free about money. We're not talking about the decamillionaires, the 100 millionaires, the billionaires. We're talking about people who were no smarter than most, weren't valedictorian straight-A students, didn't get high-powered jobs, weren't CEOs and business owners and executives, right? They were just regular people who handled their money correctly, were diligent about their investing, and did it for enough years and enough time, and were able to retire with $2, $3, $4, $5 million and live comfortably in retirement. And when other people see this, they convince themselves they're not able to do this. When in fact, most, again, not everyone, most are able to, they just choose not to because they don't want to change their behaviors and be diligent with their investing and their finances. And, when tax season comes around and they get this big tax refund, they're not thinking, where can I invest this? They're thinking about a vacation, or they're thinking about, some random house update that may not even improve the value of their home. You know what, honey? I'm sick of the house being white. The neighbors just repainted their house beige. We need to repaint our house. There's nothing wrong with the paint. We just had it painted like 5 or 10 years ago. It looks fine. I don't know. I'm sick of the color, right? Or, you know what? We need a brand new car. Our car's only 3 years old. It's fine. It's low miles. Nope, I want a new one. You know what? John up the street, he got a new car. I like it. I want one of those, right? You have people that constantly come up with reasons. They justify expenses when they don't really need to. It's not really benefiting their financial situation, but they want it, right? Or you get a bonus at work, and instead of investing that bonus or part of that bonus or using it for some sort of better financial status, it's, no, I'm going to go buy a new purse. I'm going to go buy, a new suit. I'm going to go buy myself a nice watch. I'm going to go, let's go to some Taylor Swift concert and spend $5,000 for seats. Let's do something wild, right? And I already know people are going to say now in the comments, right? You're going to say, well, Alex, it's important to have experiences in life, right? You can't just, never treat yourself. You can't just, live unhappy. It's like, hey, whoa. Do I look unhappy? I'm not telling anyone to live unhappy. What I'm saying is, live within your means. Spend within your means. Have an entertainment budget based on your means, right? Don't act like you're a multi-millionaire every time you get a little bonus or a little tax return, when in fact, the tax return was already your money to begin with. You're just getting it back, okay? Just like a savings account. And the bonus, it's like, hey, why not use this, right? You're already getting by. If you're already fine, you're getting by, you have extra money already, you don't need that, right? You already got everything else in your bills. Put it to work where it's actually going to mean something, okay? Again, changing your behaviors, changing your thought processes. Now, getting into the whole investing thing, I want to say right up front, anyone who is doing this as a business full-time, I get it. You got to churn and burn. You got to constantly flip. You can't just hold on to everything. I understand. However, hear me out. Anyone who has a regular job, okay? You go to work for your income, correct? Most everyone, not everyone does it, most everyone though, is either putting portion of that income into a 401k, an IRA, Roth IRA. Maybe they have a pension. They have usually some sort of vehicle in which they are investing money for the long term. The issue I have with this hobby is most of the people doing this full time refuse to accept that, and they don't really have a good answer for it, right? I've asked pretty much anyone doing this full time I've had on my channel for live streams. I've asked more people in private, and no one's given me a good answer on their plans for long-term investing, right? They're just saying, well, I churn and burn everything into inventory. Well, that's all fine and good. What about in 30, 40 years when you no longer want to work? Or maybe something happens when you can't work anymore. What then? Like, what are you doing to prepare for your future? And the only two, and these aren't answers that I got, these are just circumstances I came from my own head. The only two reasons that I can come up with that you're not planning for retirement are, one, you're hoping to grow your business to a large enough valuation where you can sell it one day for multi-millions of dollars, and you can use that as your nest egg to retire on. Or you just continuously flip and churn and burn and grind, and you build up enough inventory where eventually you no longer buy anything and you just start selling it all, and hopefully you have, a few $1,000,000 in inventory that you can sell off, and that can be your nest egg. Those are really the only two circumstances I can think of for people not putting money away. Because even if you're running a TCG business, that is your income. Everyone else is making an income too, except everyone else is putting a portion of that income away. What are you doing with a portion of your income, right? Unless it's one of those two scenarios, you need to invest it something. It doesn't have to be Pokemon. If you don't believe in Pokemon, even though you sell this stuff, it doesn't have to be Pokemon, but you probably should start thinking about putting money away for the long term, because most people, not everyone, most people, there's going to come a day where you actually want to retire and no longer work, and you're going to need money to do that. So that's the only thing. So for everyone else though, if you are just into the flip side of things and you do just want to keep churning and burning, and you constantly say, well, I can make more returns doing this than I can investing, great. If you can be perfect and you can not take any losses on your flips, and you can be disciplined enough to not take any of that money out of the hobby, and you continuously just build that snowball and roll it down the hill, and you continuously keep all the money in the hobby while building up your volumes and building up your higher and higher dollar flips, then hey, if you're able to do that for the next 30 years and grind that out and build up enough inventory and sell it off at the end for a big nest egg, more power to you. Again, most don't do that either. So those are the only two scenarios: full-time TCG business or full-time flipper building that whole nest egg up, and those are your plans. The third and most popular option, just like most popular option in the US at least, probably the world, is having a 401k or some other retirement account that you put money into every single month for your whole working career, so that at the end you have a retirement to live on and don't have to work. Well, same thing if you're doing this with Pokemon, right? You need to keep the long-term investments in the hobby, right? And when you look at anyone, not just Pokemon, anywhere though, everyone's always got a story about a flip or money they made, right? I mean, think about anyone who gambles, right? They're going to tell you, Alex, I made $5,000 at the casino last night at the roulette table. Well, that's good, Joe, but haven't you been at the casino the last 7 days in a row? You didn't tell me how you did on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Oh, a little up, a little down those days, but, $5,000 today. It's give me a break, man. You lost all those days, didn't you? And same thing with day traders in the stock market. They're always going to show the big day they had, right? But they're not going to show you all the losses they took, which majority of traders lose money. People who flip houses, they're going to tell everyone, yeah, I bought this house, I fixed it up, and I sold it. It took me 3 months. I made $30,000. They're not going to tell you about the other houses they didn't make money or broke even on, or didn't make that much, put in a bunch of work, or whatever it may be. Same thing in Pokemon. Everyone's going to talk about the big flip they made, the big grading play, the crazy amount of percent gain they made on this one item, whatever it may be. They're going to talk about how they're flipping Fusion Strike and Evolving Skies right now, making 100 or 200% and acting like all-stars, right? They're going to be the ones at the live shows with the big money phones, acting like, they're freaking rich because they have a whole bunch of sales at a live show. However, for the most part, people with wealth, you're not going to hear about those things. Unless, there's some rapper or athlete, flaunting their money. Most of the wealthy people don't flaunt their money, right? They're the ones, like Warren Buffett, who are holding their positions long term and maybe buying a stock at $5. And while everyone else was buying it here, selling it here, buying it here, selling it here, and they made all these different gains, well, now it's a $500 stock and he's been holding it the entire time. And his gains now outweigh all the traders who made a little bit of money all throughout the way. Same thing with real estate, right? The real estate investors, they're not flipping homes. They're buying them. They're fixing them out, they're holding them, they're renting them out. Over time, as they appreciate, maybe they take a little bit out, they refinance it, take some tax-free money out of their houses because it's refinanced debt, it's not income, and they continue to hold and let their investments and their wealth grow. Same thing with Pokemon. The big guys in this space that are investing, they're not taking advantage of every little move in the market. They're holding and holding and holding some more. And that's really what it takes to build real wealth, is have the discipline to be able to hold through the upticks. Because it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard, right? When you see Evolving Skies go to $700 a box, you want to sell. It's human nature. You want to take your profits, right? When Team Up went from $90 or $100 to $300, you want to take your profits. When it went from $300 to $700, you want to take your profits. When it hit $1,000, you want to take your profits. And all throughout the way, there's people taking profits, making $200, $300, $400 here and there. But the people who bought it $100 and held, they're up over $2,000 per box. Per box. And the same can be said for all of the sets and the cards and everything you see right now. It's always fun to talk about the gains and the flips and people showing the big deals they made. But the people who are making usually the most amount of money over the long term, over the next 10, 20, 30 years, are the ones that hold. And they handle things diligently. And not saying you have to hold every single item, right? I've talked about it before. You know, there's a way to get down to zero cost basis, right? If you want to buy multiple of every card or every box, then when things do rise, you can sell off some of them, right? Recoup all the money you put into that, and you can be at a zero cost basis, a 0% risk on all those items that you own now. You can take that route, right? Always take some money out, take some profits, hold some. As long as you're holding something for long-term investment, because if you're not doing that, well, then you better be doing it somewhere else. Because if you're not putting any money away anywhere, and your whole life is just churn and burn, flip, make money, eventually there's going to come a time where that's not going to work. And you're not going to want to work. And so don't get mesmerized, guys, by the large percentage gains or large flips you see people make, not just in Pokemon, but in the stock market, in crypto, and in real estate, anywhere, right? Because still to this day, the largest money, the most wealthy people are still the ones that buy and hold. Still the ones that invest long term. They have a 10, 20, 30-year mindset. They don't have a how am I going to make money this week and next month and flip this and buy that and sell that. They're not doing that. And when they do have extra money come in, like a tax return, like a bonus at work, whatever it may be, right? They're not blowing it on things that aren't helping their financial situation at all. They're putting it to work and being diligent with it. Now again, guys, look, don't get all like, finance guru and then think like, Alex is just about the money. He thinks no one should have any fun. No, I'm not saying that, right? Take a vacation, right? Buy yourself some stuff here and there. Treat yourself, right? Life isn't meant to just be, all about money. But at the same time, I think most people can agree, you're probably overdoing it a lot of the time. Right? It's probably a little unreasonable to spend some of the money that people do on vacations and going out and sometimes clothes and shoes and other things compared to what they actually make, right? People want to live like they're rock stars on a regular salary budget, right? And so that's really all this is. That's all wealth building is, guys. It's doing the right things with the amount of money that you have. And that's how people who never made more than 80 to 100 grand a year retire millionaires. And you have other people who've made 2, 3, 4, 500 grand throughout their lives on their salaries, and they're still working in their 60s with barely anything saved. It's because they let their lifestyle creep up to where they're still spending every money they made. They're not putting any money away. And by the time they think about it, it's almost too late, right? Because by then you don't have the energy to keep grinding in your 50s, 60s, 70s, right? You don't have that anymore. You don't have money put away from the years you did grind, and you're kind of out of luck. And that's why, unfortunately, it's sad. You see, old people working at Walmart as greeters or McDonald's serving food. And sure, some of the people just want something to do. I get it. But, a lot of the people, it's because they made poor decisions in their younger years and they have to work. And now, again, guys, we're talking generalizations here with all this. There's always, one-off scenarios, people who got dealt a bad hand, which happens. I'm not one of those people that says everyone can do this. Some people get dealt a bad hand in life. Some people go through very harsh circumstances, grow up in, third world countries, whatever it may be. I get it. I'm not saying, everyone can pull themselves out of every ditch. Not saying that, right? But at the same time, the majority of people can. And I think if most people look inside themselves, they realize, hey, I can do better. I can do this. I need to get my head on straight. And I can build wealth too. I need to stop complaining about everyone that did. And I need to get on it myself. So that's all I got, guys. I hope this video at least helps some of you out there. Obviously, I don't make these kind of videos all the time. We'll be back to the normal Pokemon content in the next one. But I did feel like, especially with tax return season, things like that, it'd be worth talking about. So that's all we got. My name's Alex. This is Nostalgianomics. I'll be back here in a new video soon. I'm out.